Hey guys, Buffy Game Back. Today we're going to have a video, and today we're going into some huge changes for the Battlefield franchise, which were announced today. I'm going to link the article down below for the GameSpot article. Major shakeup within the Battlefield franchise. We have some new studio heads, a new direction with the game, kind of. So we're going to go into all this here really quick. I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinion, kind of what I want to see them do with this game as we move forward. So obviously, Battlefield 2042 has had kind of a rough launch. I personally still am enjoying the game. However, there's definitely a lot of bugs, and over on Reddit, I'll be covering this with my review coming up eventually here, but over on Reddit, there's a huge thread going around which has all of the features from past Battlefield games that are not in Battlefield 2042. And that list is enormous. Just simple things that you would have thought, if they're making a Battlefield game, all these features would have been carried over. A scoreboard is one of them. Party system, voice over IP, which still is not in the game. You can't talk to anybody in the game still. So there's still a lot of problems with this game, and it's pretty clear. I guess it lends credence to the rumors that we've heard from Tom Henderson that this game was supposed to be a battle royale in the beginning, and then they changed direction very last minute and tried to throw Battlefield into the game, which is kind of makes sense for what we're seeing here. Clearly, this game did not have 3 years of development, and unfortunately, it really released as a broken mess. Now, like I said, I'm still enjoying it, but I'm also very disappointed. Just because it's fun and I'm enjoying it doesn't mean it's a big win for the Battlefield franchise. I think this is it's good that it's back in the modern time, but definitely not what I was expecting from a Battlefield title that I've grown up on all the way since Battlefield Vietnam, and went back and played 1942, and specifically Battlefield 2, Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3 are my favorite Battlefields in the series, I would say. So I was definitely had really high hopes for this game. Definitely a lot of improvements to make, and it seems like that's the direction they're going. I think a lot of people were worried, if you follow Reddit and things like that, a lot of people were worried, including myself, that EA was going to pull kind of what they did with the Medal of Honor franchise after Warfighter came out in 2012, I believe it was, and they canned the franchise because there was a lot of bugs at launch, and you had I think there was one patch, the game was supported for maybe 3 weeks to 4 weeks, and then all development, everything ceased on that game, which had a lot of potential if it weren't rushed out and a lot of these day one bugs were resolved. So a lot of us were kind of fearing that EA would do the same here, and this would be the last Battlefield that we would see, and going out on a pretty low note, in my opinion. So fortunately, that is not the case. EA made an announcement today, and again, the GameSpot article linked down below. Major shakeups going forward. EA came out and said that they are supporting this game going forward, and I'll read the quote for that down below here in a second. But additionally, this is what they're saying, is that DICE GM Oscar Gabrielson, who I believe has been around since the Battlefield 4 days, is leaving the company to pursue new endeavors outside of EA. So with this shakeup, Respawn Entertainment, formerly DICE LA. Now, if you're not familiar with DICE LA, they supported all of the post-launch issues and DLCs, things like that, and really brought Battlefield 4 back from the dead. All the issues that game was having, DICE LA came in, supported that, and they did a lot of the post-launch support, all that content, and they really fixed that game and turned it into what is now a lot of people's favorite Battlefield game. And I think they also assisted on Battlefield 3, if I'm not mistaken. But Respawn Entertainment, which is formerly DICE LA, head Vince Zampella is taking on a bigger role. So Vince Zampella is now going to be the boss of the Battlefield franchise, while the Halo designer, Marcus Lehto, is building his own development studio based out of Seattle. And this is going to focus on injecting more storyline into the Battlefield universe. So ripple effect, the development of Battlefield 2042's Portal Mode is what they did in this particular game for Battlefield 2042, and arguably Portal Mode is the best part of 2042, in my opinion. So they're going to be developing a Battlefield experience in the 2042 universe. So the goal here is to build a Battlefield universe similar to what you see with Call of Duty franchise, specifically, I guess, the Modern Warfare franchise, but also we see kind of the elements of this going into the recent games like Vanguard and Cold War, where you have recurring characters like Captain Price, Soap, Ghost, these mainstay franchise characters, and they have a universe that they build upon. Within that, we saw the connection with Warzone and Modern Warfare, all of that. There's a universe there at play, which is all interconnected in some way, shape, or form. that's where Battlefield needs to go, and that's really the goal here. And obviously, with Marcus Lehto coming on, who helped design and the Master Chief stories and everything for Halo, this is gonna give us a huge storyline for Battlefield, which it's really been missing because we have no single player for this. And if you look back, Battlefield really dropped the ball on this back at Battlefield 3, which in my opinion is hands down the best single player for the Battlefield series. I love going back and replaying that even to this day. Some of those missions are iconic, like the Halo jump for the Kamarov mission where you're the Spetsnaz with Dima and you go out of the plane. A lot of iconic missions in that game, and you had characters in that game like Dima, Blackburn, a lot of people in that game. I would argue almost every character in that game, even from the interrogators within the CIA, in a lot of those cutscenes, could have been brought back for a larger story of Battlefield 4. And now they did bring back Dima for kind of a one-off mission, but it wasn't the same actor as Dima. The modeling wasn't even the same. It was really a shell of a character that, in my opinion, personally was my favorite character. And then now they're bringing Irish from Battlefield 4 into Battlefield 2042, but there's no story there. The connection between Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 was very weak, and they never brought back Blackburn. They replaced him with Wrecker. So they had an opportunity to kind of build this franchise with an interconnected universe all the way back in 2010 or 2011, whenever Battlefield 3 came out. And unfortunately, they didn't do it. But it seems like finally they're heading in the right direction. And to be clear, DICE, the official DICE studio, who's been the sole developer on Battlefield for forever, is no longer the case. So Ripple Effect and Vince Zampella specifically are now taking the lead, but multi-studios are going to be working on this. So DICE is still going to obviously be supporting in the supporting role, kind of what DICE LA or Ripple Effect now, formerly DICE LA, was doing prior. Obviously, you have a lot of good developers still within DICE, but Ripple Effect will kind of be taking the reins and steering the direction of this game going forward. And like I said, this is a pretty big deal because there's a lot of things that can be done with this game to propel it back towards a real Battlefield title that I think a lot of us were expecting. And like I said, the game isn't horrible. There's a lot of game-breaking bugs that need to be solved. The specialist system can be reworked a little bit. My main thing with this game is it doesn't feel immersive. If I go back and fire up Battlefield 4, Battlefield 2, any of these, even Battlefield 1, you feel it. Even if I went back and probably did Battlefield 5, which I never bought that game, but those games you felt like you were a soldier in a war, you felt like you were making a difference. And here in Battlefield 2042, I don't feel immersed at all. It just feels very arcadey and kind of dead. There's no weight to what you're doing. It feels like it's all meaningless. Whereas in the previous titles, you were immersed and you felt like you were doing, you were contributing, which really doesn't, to me personally, doesn't appear to be the case in 2042. So I like it. It seems like they're kind of going to steer Battlefield back towards that. And obviously, the first step here is continuing the effort that DICE has already started and bringing the countless patches that they've been doing to bring kind of what we expected on day one and bring this game to kind of what should have been a day one release of this game. So they're still getting there. This is good news though for having Vince Zampella here. He obviously has worked on Call of Duty in the past, I believe Medal of Honor, Apex Legends. So he's been around. He has a lot of experience with first-person shooters. Obviously, coming from the experience with Call of Duty is pretty big here, and I think this should give us a lot going forward. There's a lot of rumors. Maybe there's obviously Ripple Effect. It said that they're going to be building kind of their own new type of game mode. Now, a lot of people are saying maybe that's a battle royale. I'm not sure what that is. Hopefully, we get a lot more content within Portal. I'm really excited to see what they do with this game going forward. Now, EA, on the COO of EA, Laura Milley, said on, I believe, the interview with GameStop, said that as a whole, we are all in with Battlefield. It is one of the most important and valuable franchises in the industry. Collectively, we are out to unlock its enormous potential, which that's all great to say. However, they're going to have to convince me, because on the earnings calls that they had this year when we first started hearing about Battlefield, it was nothing but praise. And obviously, it's ahead of schedule. It's been 3 years in the making, all-out war, all that stuff. And clearly, that wasn't the case. So it's one thing to say something, but I think at this point, EA and Ripple Effect now and DICE and everybody need to kind of show us what's going to be going on here and prove it to us with content and changes for Battlefield going forward. Now, overall, we have, like I said, the Battlefield universe is now going to be starting, so we're going to kick that off. And I think, like I said, the developer, the guy from Halo there, Lehto, I believe Marcus Lehto, is bringing in his own studio or creating his own studio out of Seattle. So that's going to be huge. That'll be the Seattle-based studio. DICE general manager changes going on. As we said, Oscar Gabrielson is stepping down, and then Vince Zampella is now taking over the new big boss role. We have a lot of old veteran Battlefield faces and names that are taking up new roles within the Battlefield franchise now going forward for this direction shift. And then we have Ripple Effect is making a new 2042 experience, which again, is it a Battle Royale? Is it not? Don't know. I personally, Battle Royale would be great, but I really want to see this game kind of return to a gritty, modern military shooter that we've all kind of known and love. I think I would argue that the modern games for Battlefield are always the best, so this near future is a great setting. It just needs to be more immersive and a little bit more gritty, and they have all the elements there. I think they just need to kind of shift the tone of this game a little bit more, and they'll be there. So the future of the franchise via this information today is guaranteed. So a lot of us, like I said, we're kind of worried that this would be the end, but that is not the case. Let me know what you guys think down below. Till next time, this is Buffner Gaming, out.